Hi, everyone. I'm Elaine. I'm so glad you could join me today. I've got a question for you. Do you prefer being a leader or following someone who leads? And why? Be sure to press the pause button and discuss this with your family. This one is so hard for me because I enjoy both. I really appreciate it when I follow a great leader. I can learn so many positive things from that leader. And then I can use those positive things that I learned with a team. Well, today we're going to continue our big God story from last week and learn about the Israelite leaders, Moses. But before we learn about Moses, let's take a look at our memory verse from Isaiah chapter 40, verse 28. Feel free to listen as I read it, or you can read it along with me. The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He will not grow tired or weary, and his understanding no one can fathom. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 28. Great job, everyone. Do you know why we use a calendar? We use a calendar to show us what day it is so we can keep track of time. We also use a calendar to remind us of holidays. Holidays are special days set aside to remember and celebrate something important. What's an example of a holiday that stands for something important to you? Make sure you pause to discuss at home. In the book of Exodus, in the Bible, we find that God gave his people a new holiday called Passover. This holiday was connected to the final plague God sent to his people and to give them a new life. What were some of the plagues God sent before this to show he is the Lord? Yes, God sent plagues such as turning the Nile into a river of blood, sending a bunch of frogs, locusts, gnats, and flies to eat all the crops, and several more. Well, today we're going to learn how God delivered his people from Egypt by sending one final plague: death to all the firstborn sons, a very sad and serious plague. God knew that this plague would force the Pharaoh to release all of the Israelites, and God would give his people new life. Before God sent the final plague, he made some plans for his people. God knew that when they left Egypt, where they had lived for 430 years, they would be starting a whole new life. So God gave the Israelites instructions for their new life. First, God gave them a new calendar. God knew that his people would celebrate the day that they left Egypt as one of the most important days in their history. This day would be called Passover. When God was about to deliver his final plague, he told the people, the Israelites, to put the blood of the lamb on their door frames. Let's read this part of the big God story together from the Bible. If you have a Bible, open it to Exodus chapter 12, verse 13, or you can read it along with me. The blood on your houses will be a sign for you. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. No deadly plague will touch you when I strike Egypt. Then God told his people to make a Passover meal by taking the lamb, roasting it over a fire with herbs, and to eat it with flatbread. God also told them to get ready to leave Egypt, because once he freed them from the Egyptians, they would have to leave in a hurry. After the Israelites put the blood on their door frames and sat down to eat the Passover meal, God brought the last plague. He passed over the Israelites' homes because their doors were covered from the blood of the lamb. By doing this, God showed the Egyptians and the Israelites that he is the one true God who gives new life. Since God had given his people instructions ahead of them, they were dressed and ready to go when the Egyptians released them. In Exodus chapter 12, verse 31, it says, "During the night, Pharaoh sent for Moses and Aaron. He said to them, 'Get out of here, you and the Israelites. Leave my people. Go, worship the Lord, just as you have asked.'" The whole nation of Israel, about 2 million people plus their animals, walked out of Egypt. God gave his people a new life where they could be free to worship him. But wait, it doesn't end there. When Pharaoh sat down and thought to himself, now that the Israelites are really gone, who's going to do everything for me around here? So Pharaoh changed his mind. He decided to gather his army and chased after the Israelites. But God wasn't about to leave his people. Finally, the Egyptians caught up with the Israelites near the sea. The Israelites were terrified, but Moses told them, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance of the Lord he will bring to you today." God told Moses to stretch out his staff over the sea. And when he did, the water piled up so the Israelites could walk through on dry ground. The Egyptians tried to chase them, but the wheels of their chariots got stuck. And once the Israelites were on the other side, the walls of the water swooshed together and covered the Egyptians. The Israelites were amazed and shouted for joy. Again and again, God proves to his people that he is the Lord. He is the one who hears our cries and gives new life. He gives us new life today, too. In the Bible, God's Son Jesus is called the Lamb of God. And like the blood of the Lamb saved the people of God from death, the death of Jesus makes the way for us to be saved. When we trust and obey Jesus, we receive a new life. God still gives his people new life. Though we might not be slaves in a foreign country like the Israelites, we still need God to give us a new life with him. Just as the Israelites celebrated the freedom and new life that God had given them, we can also celebrate the freedom and new life he offers us today. And that brings us to our ponder point for the day. Can you say it really loud with me? 1, 2, 3. God gives new life. That was awesome. That concludes our Big God story for today. It was wonderful to hang out with you and learn so much more about our amazing God. I'll see you next week.